Hi. Okay, so for our listeners, my name is Marica Kis and I'm the founder of Become Visible. And today we have a guest speaker, Neela Gohil, who is a breakthrough coach for relationship and love. Hi, Neela. Nice to see you again.
Yes,
And
you too.
welcome. Pleased to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
My pleasure. So would you mind telling us what does being visible mean to you?
So being visible to me is all about living a full expression of yourself. It's about really being seen for who you are. So it's really about, being in a space of acceptance and love for yourself. So I believe when you come from that space, you're able to be then seen.
Yeah, so that's great. That's really good. So would you mind sharing with us a little bit of your journey? How did you get from being invisible to become visible? And I know you went through a few different phases on your journey. So would you mind just sharing that with us?
Yeah. So it was just, when I was growing up as a child, there was a lot of conflict and trauma in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So whilst that was all going on, obviously it was quite visible to everybody. So I did my best to hide, but everybody was kind of looking at us. And I think there was a lot of embarrassment and shame that was going on for
Right.
me. So although I wanted to hide, I couldn't really hide. I think I've always been somebody that's been seen.
Yes.
So I believe what happened for me is in those moments, I just had to, take action and be myself because there was no place to hide.
Sure. Yes.
And I think, as you go through life, you develop different identities. So, you've become from a daughter, and then suddenly I think I lost my mother at a very young age. So my journey actually really started there. So I think the reason I mentioned that is because that then led me to my personal development and my inner healing journey, which then really questioned, what was the reason I'm here, my purpose. And I think that's a lot to do with, becoming visible and to really, shine a torch on yourself and say,
Sure.
well, this is who I'm becoming now. So I've done a lot
Yes.
of healing, and I've got my own healing business, which I started early on. But then I've always kind of done things, probably not in the spotlight as much as I probably thought I should have been doing that, or thought, nobody had kind of told me that you need to be out there and doing all this stuff and taking videos and putting your message out there. I really, that for me, I was on a real spiritual path, so it just didn't make sense to me. I
Right.
think a lot of
Yes.
it has been really my own self-discovery and my growth. So I've had a lot of mentors as well along the way.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think they've really helped me. They've pushed me to really get out there. And I can't thank them enough because, I believe in the times when we feel scared or fearful, because a lot of it may be also about judgment, not
Sure.
only about people judging you. I think that was the biggest fear, but I think it's judging yourself.
Yes.
Actually, the stories I was telling myself, which then later on, through a lot of personal development work, I realized, gosh, this is what I'm holding on to, these beliefs that, I'm not good enough, what will people say? And I think given my past, it was even more difficult for me to kind of, come out. But I overcame it, which is fabulous. And
That's excellent.
so it's been a
So
wonderful journey.
would you say that's even worse for us, that judging ourselves, than what other people actually think of us, like how they judge us? Because I think we're always like far harsher towards ourselves than what people actually are, because sometimes we think, well, most of the time people don't even care what we have to, but we create these stories in our head about ourselves more than what other people actually care.
And that's what it is. It's our inner mindset. And I think, half the time other people don't even think or see you in that way. The way you see yourself, I think that holds you back. and then it stops you
Yeah.
from really getting out there and, you know, being seen, you know, sharing your message and just showing up, and showing up from a really powerful space, you
Yeah.
know, and empowering others. Because I think it has a lot to do also, you know, with, when we are judging ourselves, we are actually limiting our potential and what it is we want to offer the world. So a lot of what I do is not actually about myself. So even I think that was the most, you know, revealing thing to me
Yeah.
on this journey. The reason probably I wasn't seen sooner is because I've always had this thing about, it's not about me, you know, it's about other people. So I think that's what stopped me in the early days from being seen, because really I've only started properly being seen since 2010, I would say, on my journey, when I started going a bit more out there, public, at events, and
Yes.
speaking and coaching. And obviously we're all seen, I think, in the workplace, you know,
Yes, but
people,
that's different.
yeah,
We can't actually hide there, can we? Because
exactly.
you're employed, yeah. But this is kind of in a different capacity, like what I mean, being visible as an individual to share your talents and passion with the world. And that
Yes,
kind of being seen in that way, it obviously involves our personal story. So
yeah,
that I think that's what scares us, because if we do a job, we identify with that job, and then it's not us really. It's
yeah.
the job that we
But you
represent.
know, I just want to say something. I'm so grateful for my corporate life and my job, because I come from a background in leadership development and
Right.
training, and I had the most amazing managers. You know, they really pushed me to kind of go out there and deliver trainings and speak up at meetings. And whilst it was really terrifying, I look back at those days and I'm just so grateful, because I
Yes.
think that's where my journey started of confidence,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and growing that.
It's interesting when we look back, it's usually the jobs that we were in that prepare us for that journey, don't they? That when we actually
Yeah,
become visible, do our own thing. But at the time, we don't actually appreciate that, because we just think, oh gosh, I can't stand this. This is so boring. I
yeah,
should be doing something else. But then we think if we didn't have that journey, we probably wouldn't be able to shine in our full light
yeah,
as
I totally
now.
agree. It really prepares you, I think, to get
Mm.
out in the big wide world, you know.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So do you say to actually be seeing, it's important to go in first and do our own personal journey and deal with things like what you were saying with different beliefs and what we, to then actually fully show up for people and be
Yeah.
authentic?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. I think, yes, certainly there is some like inner work that we need to do on ourselves to, you know, really break through those, you know, negative patterns, beliefs, thoughts, whatever they are. But I think for me, a lot of it has been, I've just naturally done it. I don't know. I feel very connected to my intuition. And I feel
Right,
I'm somebody
yes.
that's just had to, you know, I actually ran a show recently called Inspiration, Living an Inspirational
Oh,
Life.
wonderful.
And
Yes.
that comes from actually having to really, you know, live that in the moment.
Mm,
So
mm,
not in the moment, you know, you're not even taught how to actually go out and do it. You just need to go and do it because you don't have a choice. You know, I
yes.
think I've been put into these situations. It's like do or die. So I think at that time, you don't have time for personal development. You know,
No,
nobody's
no.
really taught me the ropes. I think I've had to just get on with things. And then over time, I've kind of, you know, had to then look back and then be taught the steps. So
Hmm.
I'm one of these people, I've just gone and done it. And then, you know, look back and just thought, oh my God, learned from my mistakes. And then some, you know, found a coach or somebody, and then, oh wow,
Yes,
this, you know, this is how you do it.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
So what, that's very interesting point, because when we put in that situation, like when you say lots of the times, I think like, what if this was a matter of life or death? Like you would have to do it, wouldn't you?
yeah, you
Wouldn't have
just
a
keep
choice.
moving. Yeah,
So why do we then hold back so much, and we have this fear and oh my gosh? But I think the biggest, what would you say to people that have this fear of failure and making mistakes and, you know, perfection? There's lots of perfectionists out in the world. And it's like, oh, unless it's perfect, I don't want to start. I don't want to be judged. I have to have a perfect website. I have to have a perfect video. Everything has to be perfect, or otherwise I'm not going to start. Well, what is your message to?
I think it reminds me a lot about me when I first started. I remember one of my mentors actually holding my hand and literally just shouting at me while I was doing my website, because the fear was just kicking in.
Yes.
And I tell you what really helped me. You know, what helps you really overcome perfection is when you really tap into your heart and you realize what you're doing isn't about you. You know, you have a bigger mission and a purpose and a vision in the world. And I think that's what got me through. And actually it's my why. So a lot of my why comes from my, why do I do what I do is because of my mother. You know, I lost my mother to cancer at a very young age.
Yes.
So anytime I do something, I always think about my mother and I think, God, she would be really proud of me. So that's what pushes me, you know, to get over my perfection.
Yeah.
And I think that's if people have a strong why, it will really push them to take inspired action.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I agree with that. And then just also you brought a very valid point. When we stop focusing on ourselves and think about other people, that we actually serving people, then it doesn't really matter so much. Kind of perfectionism is sort of in the background, isn't it? Because it's who we're serving, and so we're actually depriving helping other people.
Exactly. And I think I've learned, you know, along the years is I've really had to get myself out of the way. Because you know, whilst it's great to be out there and all of these things, it's great, but I think I also struggled really hard to do that. You know, like I feel I'm somebody who you know, given my journey, my spiritual path, everything was stripped away from me. So I was I was like nothing, if that makes sense, in a spiritual sense. You strip through all your ego patterns and everything, and suddenly it's like, well, then I am nothing, you know, who am I then? And then suddenly you're then having to build up an identity, and I think that scared me more, to build up an identity, and then suddenly it's like, oh my God, I've got to do this for somebody. So I just had to get over it, Maria. I'll be honest with you, I just had to get over it. And it was like, come on, just do it. And I did. I put my website out there. You know, I've created my YouTube channel.
Excellent. Congratulations.
I ran seminars in India, and even in my own home, I used to run seminars. And, you know, so I think that all came about because I just let go of who I was and really just, you know, I was there for everybody. That needed their help. It was all about them.
Yes. So it's just, I think, about being creative as well. As you were saying, you were running seminars from home, because sometimes people think, oh my gosh, I need money to hire a venue or something. But as you say, if you have your home, you could just run it in your living room. You can start off small, like even if you have 4 or 5 people, it doesn't matter. Do you not think so?
Definitely. I used to run like meditation groups in my home to start with. That's how I started. Just like one-on-one coaching or healing sessions. I just started very small, and then from there I think it just grew and grew. So people obviously referred other people, and then it got bigger, and then I used to run group sessions, and you know, it just went from there.
Yeah, it kind of organically grows, doesn't it?
Exactly.
When we make the first step, and I think it's that intention as well that we send out. And what we're saying, first, the why is very important. And then also the intention that we have, where we want to go forward in future. And what is your view on having a vision in life, like for the future?
So obviously I believe we're all moving online and more virtual now. So that terrifies me a bit, to be honest, because I'm a really kind of old-fashioned person. I like to do things in person. You know, that's just the way I've been. So even I've had to, I know my vision is to really, you know, I'm in the middle of writing a book. I want to touch 1 million hearts around the world. I believe, you know, people need more connection and love in these times, and more harmony in their relationships, and to really come back to who they are. So that
Yeah.
my vision is really to do that. And I know I'm going to have to create some sort of online program myself as well, which I'm in the middle of doing. So I just think it'll be the same, but the delivery will be different. And it's really also about, you know, using technology to your advantage.
Yes.
And actually it will be easier because I'll probably touch more people because I'll be more accessible, because I've done a lot of traveling around the world and in all different places, and now I think, God, actually that's not so bad. You know, if I can write my book, people can buy that. If I can do my online program, and even my coaching that I do now is also online.
Yeah, so maybe you can reconnect with people that you used to coach in India or
exactly, and I still coach them. So I still have clients in the US and India and you know, different spaces like England. So yeah, it's great. Technology is great, and I think that is the future. But let's not lose that human connection.
Yeah, I agree. Human connection is very important as well. I mean, it's wonderful, as you were saying, to use technology to our advantage, because we can reach people worldwide, which we wouldn't be able to if without technology. We would just be kind of stuck in the local. But then again, so we can do both.
Yeah,
we can use that online, and then once hopefully we are free to sort of gather with other people again, we can then use the personal contact as well. Yeah. So just another question. So how did you start coaching, like the relationship? How did you become a relationship coach?
So I never thought, I never thought I'd be a relationship coach, because I was literally coaching in every single subject. I've done so many different things. And then when I've actually been with an amazing mentor, and I believe everybody needs a coach and a mentor, even if you're a coach yourself. That's the only way to
absolutely.
grow. I agree. He really helped me to, you know, narrow down my niche. And that was all from my story. So I realize now, because of my story, that's where my expertise comes in. You know, I believe I'm somebody that has a lot of life experience around relationships, you know, watching my mother and father's relationship fail, to then losing my mother, and then obviously being in a marriage myself, and then that fell apart, and then, you know, being in relationships. And then I think, you know, that's when I realized, oh my God. And you know how you find that out, you know, what's really you know, what kind of coach you are. So you said, you know, how come you're a relationship coach? Because I feel it in my heart. You know, it's something I do very naturally. And also when I look back, I think, God, people used to just come to me all the time with their problems, relationship problems.
And
so it became, I didn't realize I was actually a naturally coaching before I actually, you know, became a qualified coach.
Well, that's wonderful. So what would you say, because there are lots of women out there and they say, oh, I have no qualifications, I just don't know, I know I'm here to do something else and I feel this is not right what I'm doing, because it's very interesting what you said about using your life story, your life experience. So you say that they could just look back onto their life and see what challenges they had to overcome and what are their strengths.
Yeah, I think it's just about, you know, looking at where you are in your life. Everybody's got a story, right? This is what I believe. We've just got to make it a great one.
Yes.
and if you can help somebody, because I believe there's so many challenges now out there. People need more coaches. They need people to share their experiences with. And if you've overcome something, you just don't know, one day you're going to save somebody's life. You really are, through your own experience. And if you can think about it in that way, you know, focus on something you've overcome as well, not something that you're still dealing with. And I think that's going to be really powerful. And I think that sounds really simple, but I think if people just did that, you know, and looked at their life experience and think, God, I could help somebody in whatever area. And it could even be something small. So I know, for example, one of my friends, she just bakes cakes. That's her thing. It's not life-changing stuff, but she could help people you know, learn how to bake cakes.
Of course, yeah, and
You know,
it's a big
that's,
thing.
yeah, I'm just giving that as a small example,
Yes,
but
yes.
it
So
could be
people,
anything. Even
yeah,
housewives can do this. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. So, if you had to describe confidence, I know sometimes it's difficult to put it into words, but what does confidence mean to you? How would you describe it?
Yeah, so this was a question I was asking from, I don't know, some years ago. You know,
Mm-hmm.
me, myself, I used to always ask my boss, I want to be confident. What is that? And she used to say, it just comes with practice. It comes with time. You know, she didn't even have a real definition for me. And I actually have never
Right.
looked up the definition of confidence. I
Mm-hmm.
believe confidence is a state of being. I believe it's
Right.
something that you have in you and you realize you've got it because your mind shift is different. You know, everything about you is different. The way you show up in the world, the way you come across to somebody, you know that you're not scared anymore. You know, you know you're kind of coming from a place of power. So you feel confident. Even simple things like the way your posture is. I mean, it
Yes.
sounds crazy, but you know, even the way you speak, you know, your posture, eye contact. You know, it's just, for me, confidence is about being your true self, be yourself, and not worry about what other people think. And you can show up and you can be in your power and you can live a full expression of who you are, be true to yourself. That's confidence, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel it is.
That's a great explanation. It's just that sometimes I notice that I kind of call it false confidence and real confidence, if that makes sense. Because, you know, people that are very kind of in their head, and it's almost like you think overconfident. They're so confident, but they don't actually, you can actually sort of say, oh gosh, I'm not actually
Yeah,
sure about that.
yeah.
So what is your view on
Yeah,
that?
so I understand what you're saying as well, because I just noticed from their physiology the difference.
Right.
There's a real
Yes.
difference, because when you ask them to speak or something, you can see, like, a shy person is, you know, you can tell their body language is a bit, maybe they're muffling with their words, you know, maybe they don't really know what they're saying. Or I think a person that's confident is somebody who's really authentic, you know, somebody who speaks from the heart and tells the truth.
Yes.
I think that's,
Yeah.
for me, they're qualities of a confident person.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's what I meant. What I meant about the false confidence is not someone who's shy, but someone who comes very confident into body.
Oh,
You know,
I see. Yeah,
overconfident. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah, yeah,
men tend to have like
yeah,
a natural sort of
yeah.
nothing to do against men,
But
but
yeah, I think that probably comes from a place of ego, though.
yeah, that's what I
That's
mean. That's why I
why.
call it false confidence.
Yeah,
Kind of true confidence is what you were explaining, when people come from inside, from their heart, and when it's authentic.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's the difference. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that was great, Neela. That was lovely talking to you.
Thank
And
you.
so what would you, the last words of wisdom that you have for our listeners, if there was someone at home that kind of or still feeling in their own little shell and it's like, oh, I'm so scared, I'm fearful, I don't know how I'm ever going to do this, what would your
Okay.
view of advice be?
So I think this is going to be a little deep, but
That's
I
fine.
believe, you know, we come into this world as infinite beings, okay? And we are diamonds when we first come in, and we just forget that we're diamonds. Along the way, things happen. You know, we just need to get polished again. I believe also we are souls in a body. So our soul has a plan for us. We came in with a plan. And I think
Yes.
it's time to honor that. If we can see the bigger picture and we can tap into our purpose, I think that would maybe help. And, you know, those people that feel fearful or whatever. And like I said before, you know, it's not about you. You know, you are part of the jigsaw while
Yes.
you're here. But just remember that, you know, you have a plan in this big universe. You know, you have a purpose. Your souls come here for a reason. So
Yes.
make the most of life, because it's very precious. I think we should be very privileged to be here in these times, because we're in times of great awakening. I think that,
Yes.
you know, a lot of transformation is going to happen. And if you can, you know, you can show up and you can get, you know, you can break through all the barriers to what's holding you back. I think, you know, this is going to be an amazing world, because, you know, people will be more heart-centered, more connected. And yeah, this world will be a more harmonious place.
That's beautiful. Thank you. That's really nice. So just kind of basically getting out of our own way and let that diamond shine again.
Yeah, that's it. And just realize you are that diamond, you know,
Yes.
and everything's possible. So,
Yeah.
you know, I love it. I love this thing about, you know, possibilities. Everything is a possibility, and it will be, because a lot of it has to do with your thoughts as well. If you tell yourself that, you know, it will be possible. So let go of those old negative beliefs and patterns and thought forms, and focus on what it is that you do want.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your own journey, Neela.
Thank you so much, Maria. It was wonderful to be here.
No, it was
I
my
really wish you a lot of luck on your journey as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.